very similar to what Bill Evans and Toots Thielmans do to Body and Soul on Bill's record Affinity. It's a mixture of pedal tones and descending half step, whole step bass lines that aren't always tonic tones. But the inner voices are so strong that the listener is not aware that the tonic tones are not being stated. It's sort of like this. So it's in D flat, and we emphasize the A flat, the fifth, a lot. And then it goes down. So, yeah, that's a mistake. That's supposed to be C minor 7 flat 5. Let's see what I did wrong there. Okay, these are just musings, you know, but they're fun. Okay. So then in the bridge again, Bill utilizes the fifth pedal tone, because as you know, when we go to the bridge, it's in the key of D. But he plays A pedal tone throughout the whole first part of the bridge. Like this. So we'll start here. next part of the bridge goes to C, but then he utilizes the fifth, which is G. Yeah, let me do that again. Then it goes back to the pedal tone of A flat, so it would be. Yeah. Try again. Keep messing that up. that's typical, but that's what Bill does. It's E flat minor 7th here, right? And then D flat minor 11th to C minor 7 flat 5. Right here is the D flat. Something like that, just musings. Let's see, how about this one? Again, a pedal tone, this is in F, right? So the pedal tone intro is real nice. Bill uses this a lot. So the pedal tone in F would be the 5th C, and he plays this all the time. So the intro would be the days of wine and roses and you, then back to the top. So Okay, those weren't right, but here's what's happening here as I see it. A lot of times, let's say he's playing a minor 2-5, you know, like going to E minor 7, flat 5, A7, flat 9 to say D minor. So this is a real cool chord for the E minor 7, flat 5. What we do is we build, we stack 2 chords on top of that. We do over the E minor 7, flat 5, we do a B flat 13, which of course is the tritone of E. And then on top of the B flat 13, we play a C triad. So I'm not going to play the bass note yet. I'm just going to play the 13, the B flat 13. And then I'm going to play the C triad on top of that. That's a great sound, I think. And then when you put the E in the bass, it's really something. So here we've got F triad, and then again B flat 13, and then okay, you know, in simple terms, that's an E minor 7 flat 5. That's a killer chord. Okay, so that's the 2 minor 7, right? And then we'll go to A, and we'll also play a 13th. But this is just a straight A 13th. And then we'll stack this again on the A 13th. What we'll stack is a major triad, a whole step above A. And then there's another one that we could do, the tritone of A. So here, B flat 13 with a C on top. You know, typical bebop lines can go over that. Okay, so E, B flat 13, E minor 7 flat 5, B flat 13, C. Okay, so now this one, this is the 5-7, right? E minor 7 flat 5, we were on that. And this is the 5-7. And we can build it very much in the same way. The bass note obviously is the 5th A. And then what we're going to do is we play like a D flat 13th over it, right? D flat being no, I'm sorry. This is A 13th again, right? With you know, you can call it a sharp 11, I guess. I mean, a flat 13. So this is, Jesus Christ, this is A, you could call it A augmented 7th, or you could call it A flat 13th. And then you want to add, what is this note here? The sharp 9, that's what that is. So the sharp 9 with the F triad on top. Right? So it sounds like this from E to A. Okay, so I mean, those are just musings on that. Now, similar to that, when Bill plays Stella by Starlight, of course, we know that E minor 7 flat 5 is the first chord. But he likes to do this. Instead of that, he goes. So you ask, what is this chord? Visually, as a piano player, a lot of times, rather than spell the chord harmonically or inharmonically, you think of shapes. And so what we have here is G minor major 7 with E in the bass. And the natural 2 is not in the scale that goes with E minor 7 flat 5. As you know, it would normally be so you know, it'd be like and then this is again flat 13, sharp 9, A. So and again he starts to utilize a pedal tone right at this point. Descending line with Eddie Gomez over the melody. That whole line, the whole bass line goes with that. So, Okay, now I'm going to do the pedal tone instead of that. See, the music's falling everywhere. And then another pedal tone here. And another pedal tone here. G augmented 7 with a flat 9. And then, so again, he utilizes the pedal here because normally we would go, we're at G augmented. Typically we would go to C minor here. But what he does though, he stays on the G when the chord changes to C minor. So like this. Goes to A flat 13th, then he raises it a half a step. And instead of resolving to B flat here, he makes a little stop at A. And then he goes to B flat. So instead of going to D minor 7 flat 5, he'll go to A flat 13 and take that chromatically down to, you'll see it, he'll take it down to C sharp minor 7 to F sharp 7, then C minor 7 to F 7, and then bring it back home to B flat. A flat. And so he'll use that chromatic approach to get home instead of going, you know, straight to B flat. So I think it's very hip. Now another thing you can do, because we have tritone substitution here, right? So the last 8 are E minor 7 flat 5 to A7, D minor 7 flat 5 to G7, C minor 7 flat 5 to F7. Okay, so instead of that, well, let me play that. So what we can do is really, it's nice here. Because of tritone substitution, instead of E minor 7 flat 5, we can play what, again, I say we can refer to these visually rather than to spell them harmonically or inharmonically. And this looks like for a piano player, this is like a B flat 13th. Okay, so that's what it is, right? So the B flat 13 over the E, that's very hip. And that takes you back home to Stella, I mean to B flat. C sharp minor 7 to F sharp 7. Those things, you know, Bill and Eddie Gomez were together for what, 9, 10, 11 years? And they had all these things worked out, all these chromatic things, either chromatic or a whole step, but always, you know, descending like this. Chromatic going up. Chromatic going up again. Then home. I'm sorry. You can shorten them, you can elongate them. But the whole thing is, it's so fun. It's a fun game because, you know, you don't state the root. It's almost like when you always state the root, it's sort of like insult to the intelligence of the audience, you know. Now, I know a lot of you piano players have, I felt this, and I figure we've all felt this, is that when you're playing with a bass player that's not hip, you know, he depends on you to always play with your pinky on the left hand, to play the bass note, you know, so he can slide by, right? He doesn't really know the tune. So he looks at your left hand to try to get the note that he's supposed to play. And you know, that's no fun. Playing music like that's no fun. And I the first time I had an experience of playing with a bass player who did that, you know, who leaned on me to give him the tonics. You know, from the first song, I knew that that's what he needed. But I refused, you know, just mischievously not to play left-hand chords with any roots. And we played, you know, a couple of songs, and he said to me, "Man, I never heard anybody play any chords like that. What are those notes you're playing on the bottom?" And I said, well, they're not tonic tones, you know. And he said, well, I had never heard anything like that. And, you know, this is really surprising. I think, well, it is to me, and I know it is to you too, is, I mean, where are these people coming from? You know, I mean, this is a guy, a bass player, you know, he refers to himself as a jazz bassist, but has he ever listened to a Bill Evans trio record before? You know what I mean? Uh, Bill never plays tonics in the bass. And, you know, it makes you wonder the, the pool of knowledge out there is well, it leaves a lot to be desired. Uh, yeah, I was going to say something about listening to music here. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, this is it. I met up with a piano player, again, someone who referred to himself as a jazz piano player, and we were talking, you know, talking shop, and I said, well, you know, you've listened to Bill Evans, right? And he said to me, no, I've heard his name. And this cat was about like what, 35 years old or something like that. And you know, you got to scratch your head and think, what's going on? You know, how can it be that a cat that gets gigs, I mean, they actually hire him and pay him, and the cat has only heard Bill Evans' name. You know, I mean, okay, you know, no point in beating a dead horse, but man, that's some weird shit. You know, that's really some weird shit. Uh, okay, well, I'm just doing this because I thought, well, what the hell? You know, I'll just sit down here and do a couple things. Um, we left off at Wine and Roses. I don't know if I did anything with that or not. Maybe there's something else here. I like this intro and the thickness of the harmony. And instead of going minor here on the G minor 7, I find it nice to go to this, and this is kind of a cliche, you know, a G dominant 13 with the 13, flat 13, going to the 5th essentially, instead of the minor. So I'll play the minor first. And here's the 13. Isn't it funny how you play something all your life and all of a sudden you can't play it at all? Here we go. What? Okay, yeah, and you know, obviously that's some form of diminished, you know, with a 6. So now here's where I do the 13th instead of the minor. stuff like that, and you know, it's fun. You know, this is just a lot of fun. And then the intro I talked to you about. Whew, that was awful, but yeah, Bill does this a lot too. Yeah, I can't play that fast, so I'm going to play it slower so maybe we can enjoy it more. The days, as opposed to, you know, like we all learned, you know, to A minor 7, flat 5. Form of D7, in this case D7 sharp 9, right? Well, this is so much hipper, you know. Okay, this is an interesting one. You know, if you have Bill Evans' record Alone Again, he plays the song People for 15 minutes. And he alternates choruses. One chorus he plays in B flat, the next chorus he plays in E, and so on. I'm going to try to do a little bit of that because the way he transitions in the key of E is so cool. And then the way he gets back to B flat is really cool too. So let's see. And again, pedal tone. pretty. Forgive me. In fact, I think he does it in this range. Yeah. And then pedal. Then minor, major 7, and then he harmonizes it in thirds. I think that's so lovely. And then contrary motion. And this one, like I say, is so pretty. Yeah. Sorry. Which it's a G chord, you know, but the third is in the bass. Man, I can't remember this shit. It's been so long. I just sat down today, you know, and I used to be able to do this, but hey, no more excuses, right? Let me see if I can get this, because it's worth, I don't know, you know. Give me 3 minutes. Okay, getting there. There it is. modulate to E. Isn't that cool? Oh man. So that's an E. Okay, I could sit here all day and do this stuff and have a great time. I don't know how great a time you're having, but I like to do this from time to time. Hope you'd like to see another one.